You are making the world a better place by listening to the Joy of Living podcast. This is your guide to achieving a more purposeful, powerful, and positive life. Join Barry Shore in unlocking the best version of you and becoming happier, healthier, and wealthier. And now, here's your ambassador of joy, Barry Shore.
Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, you're good-looking. Joe is looking for and finding the good, and we have good in abundance today. Our cup runneth over with good, because you have tuned in consciously and conscientiously to the Joy of Living with your humble host, Barry Shore. And you did it for one reason and one reason only. It's the best reason in the whole world, by the way, because you care the most in the whole world about you, Y-O-U. And that's great, by the way, because when you become the best you make the world a better place. You build more bridges of harmony, create more joy, happiness, peace, and love. And you're going to learn all about that today and break through into the best you possible with our amazing guest, the wonderful John Assaraf. And this, it's all transformative. It's just so wondrous today. So be happy. And you're joined, by the way, at this very moment by 348,613 people around the world. By the time we bring on John, we'll probably be up to about 360,000 people, because people coming in. And thank God we always have hundreds of thousands of people, and you're always telling your friends and family, tune into the Joy of Living podcast, because in this show, we discuss the three fundamentals of life. And the three fundamentals are going to make you happier, healthier, and wealthier. The three fundamentals are, number one, your life has purpose. When you lead a purpose-driven life, number two happens. In this case, a good number two, you go mad. Now, MAD is a wonderful acronym. It stands for make a difference. You lead a purpose-driven life, you make a difference in the world. And number three fundamental is to unlock the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms. Simple example right now, ask anybody, what does WWW stand for? And invariably, it'll tell you how to do with the internet. Now, factually speaking, they're correct. In our world, however, the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, WWW stands for what a wonderful world. And what is a word, right? WHATA. And of course, whenever you hear what a wonderful world, the opening bars of the amazing song that went viral, thank you to Louis Armstrong Satchmo, which has touched not just tens of millions or hundreds of millions, but billions of people around the planet singing right away. What a wonderful world. Well, what do you do right away when you hear the opening bars? You can't help it. You smile. Now, smile is one of the most important words you can ever internalize, utilize, and leverage in your life, because smile stands for seeing miracles in life every day. Seeing miracles in life every day. Now, thank God I'm back speaking to people. Reality, even though this is reality, but it's a webinar, it's carried around the world, it's great. But I'm talking to people in person, no masks, we're hugging, things are happening, all that panic stuff is gone. And I just spoke recently about 1,173 people in the audience, and I'm telling the story about Barry Shore and talking about smile, see miracles in life every day. And people are raising their hands and say, hey, Barry Shore, I've been here for hours, I haven't seen any miracles. And I asked them, are you here? Can you hear? Can you stand still? I can't do that. Can you walk? I can barely do that. You have water to drink. You have food to eat, place, sleep, family, friends. Every single one of those is a miracle. What's the simplest proof? Simple proof. 1 million people didn't get out of bed this morning. You know why? They died. By definition, if you're watching or listening to this, you didn't. Therefore, you have an obligation to live life to the full, exuberantly. I'll tell you a quick story. Imagine the following. Standing up in the morning, hale and hearty, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. That evening, be in the hospital, totally, completely paralyzed from my neck down. I was a quadriplegic overnight, and it was not from an automobile accident. It was not a spinal injury. A rare disease, which I never heard of the day before, took over my body and rendered me completely, totally paralyzed. All I could do to communicate was blink my eyes. I was 144 days in the hospital. I was 2 years in a hospital bed in my own home. I couldn't turn over by myself. 4 years in a wheelchair. I had braces on both my legs, my hips to my ankles. That was progress. Thank God today I'm able to be vertical and ambulatory with the help of a 7-foot walking wand, but I still can't. So I'm a triped, not a biped. I can't walk up a stair by myself. I can't walk up a curb by myself. And I have help 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. But you hear my voice. Positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, all because of this one word, smile. I got to tell you a quick story. My 8-year-old niece comes over to me a few weeks ago. She says, Uncle Barry, can we spell smile S-M-I-E-L? And I thought about smile sounds the same. Why not? I asked her, how come? She says, because then it would stand for seeing miracles in everyday life. Out of the mouth of babes, an 8-year-old. But what was she doing? She was creating the kind of world she wants to live in. CREATE is a wonderful acronym. It stands for causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. Rethinking, we call it neuro-linguistic programming. And you're going to hear from the greatest expositor of neuro-linguistic programming on the planet. That's right, on the planet. And this goes along, of course, with the 6 most important words you could ever utilize, internalize, and leverage in your life. And they are choice, not chance, determines your destiny. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. How you choose to respond in any given situation will really decide what's going to happen with you, for you, and through you to the rest of the world. Now, before we bring on John, I got to tell everybody, I have to warn him also. I do use a lot of 4-letter words. And I even use the 4-letter FU word. I do it for the shock value in this because it's fun. Now, of course, the 4-letter words that we use, because we live in the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, are love, life, hope, grow, free, gift, play, pray, swim, mind. Yes. 4-letter words. The 4-letter FU word is fun. Fun. Did you say fun? Yes. F-U, capital N, capital N. Now, I know people are raising their hands and say, Barry, sure, fun's only spelled with 3 letters. Not in our world. World of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant. Fun is spelled F-U, capital N, capital N. So after the show, when you see your family and friends, you point your finger, you have a twinkle in your eye and a smile on your face. You say, F-U, everybody. But remember to add right away, capital N, capital N. Where'd you get that? I said, well, I listen to Barry Shore on The Joy of Living. He wants to teach the world to F-U. Capital N, capital N. So before we bring on John, I'm just going to urge everybody, as we do every show, and it's happening now around the world, to utilize the 2 most important and powerful words in the English language 3 times a day, consciously and conscientiously. Because when you do this, you'll help you, your family, your friends, and all living beings. And again, you'll be happier, healthier, and wealthier. I guarantee it. Or your money back. And these 2 words are thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks stands for to harmonize and network kindness. To harmonize and network kindness. The Dalai Lama is quoted as saying, I read in his writings, be kind whenever possible. As he says, always possible. Imagine you walk in the coffee shop, you order a fancy latte, sit down, somebody brings it to you, say, thank you. You go to the coffee shop, you order your fancy latte, a few minutes go, nobody brings it. You go to the counter and say, I'm sorry, we forgot, we're busy. We bring it to you, sit down, a couple of minutes go by, still somebody brings it, you say, thank you. You're walking out of the coffee shop, it's raining out. Somebody holds the door open for you. You say, thank you. You're walking out of the coffee shop, it's raining, somebody slams the door on you. You say, thank you. You're in traffic, you're late for an appointment, somebody cut you off, you say, thank you. You get up in the middle of the night and you stub your toe and it hurts. You say, thank you. To harmonize and network kindness. Kindness is an amazing acronym. It stands for keep inspiring noble deeds. There is nobody on the planet that I would like to share with you who inspires noble deeds more than wonderful John Assaraf. John, please say
good to be here. Thank you.
He did it right away. That's the essence of John, because you see, he's a beamer. He's the essence of beaming, not a BMW. The real beamer in life comes from the inside. And if you're not watching this, you should be. Listening is great. There's no question about it. But watching it really brings out the essence of this amazing man. Now, I told you in the beginning that we're talking about the mind, your mind, and you becoming the best you possible. John Assaraf, I started reading everything about him in his CV, it would just take the rest of the show. So I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to sprinkle some things in throughout our conversation. But suffice it to say that John is the leading expositor, and you can look that up if you want to, the leading person in the world that's discussing the idea of your brain, your mind, and what we call neuroscience. And he's taking it to a level that will not only enable you to say, wow, is that true? Yes, it's transformational. What we're doing today, by the way, is not just information readily available. It's the internet. We're talking about the T word, transformation. Let's just set it up as a T, and you can hit it out of the park, John. Let's just begin right away and talk to us and share with us what in heaven's name is neuroscience other than psychobabble.
Yeah, psychobabble. Like obviously the study of the brain is just understanding what's happening in this, phenomenal structure. This I prefer to call it an organism instead of an organ. Since it's developing, we're developing new brain cells. Brain cells are connecting. It's pruning like leaves falling off of a tree. It's creating new branches every moment of every day. Even when we're asleep, our brain is evolving. And the thing that I think I'm having the most fun with, Barry, is we have so much more control over it than we ever thought possible. And that's really the fun part of the science now. And it's just in the last 20 years that we're able to see deeper into the brain. And, as you know, we use telescopes to look out into the cosmos, and we use microscopes to look into the nucleus of an atom and beyond. And so what we're able to do now with some of the computational abilities that we have with technology is look into deeper and deeper layers or structures of the human brain. And what we're finding is just fascinating. One of which, most people don't think of it this way, but one of which is every brain functionally works the same. So if a brain functionally works the same, and we learn a little bit about how to use our brain better, maybe we could take some of those governors off, that limit us, or the limiters, that we have. So lots of fun on the behavioral neuroscience research side, and lots of fun on putting the control back into people's lives, that I really can manage my life maybe a little bit better than I am right now, to be happier, healthier, wealthier, if that's what you want to be, and to live this fantastical journey that I had a smile for the first 8 minutes of this, just listening to you, just beaming with love and fun, with two ends.
Two ends, right? F you, John. So as you can hear right away, and again, if you can see it also, he's captivating. I mean, this is a man who is dedicating his life not so much to the idea of his NeuroGym, which we'll talk about in great detail, but to literally liberating people. That's who he is. He's a liberationist. And I really love two things that you said I want to unpack and then look a little deeper, because there were many things that you said that were interesting. One is the idea of journey and the idea of organism. So let's say journey for the one time, because again, we work with acronyms on this show with people love. That's what we're about. Joy is a great acronym. It stands for Journey of You. Isn't that beautiful? Journey of You. That's what joy is, right? And the knowledge, because this is, as you said, this is only in the past few decades, the true knowledge that is available to every human on the planet now. Every human on the planet, that the brain, first of all, is an organ, and as an organism, is alive. It's not static. You're not locked into where you think you were before. So by definition, there are no limits.
And that's really, it's really the truth when we think about, if we go back to, maybe our parents or grandparents, a lot of science at the time thought that, we had these genes, that we got from our parents and grandparents, and that we became just like them. And that's where the old adage says, well, you're just like your mother, or you're just like your father. And as much as that may be true, and as much as the environment that we grew up in, really shaped a lot of what we believed, what we expected, what we thought, what we experienced, the newer truth is that even though there is this world of genetics, there's a whole new world we've been discovering around epigenetics, right? And that is our ability, our thoughts are able to activate or deactivate certain genetic propensities. So we can actually override being just like grandma or grandpa or mom or dad, or even the environment that we grew up in that may have been an environment of blame, shame, or guilt, or justification, or an environment of poverty or scarcity, or an environment of being unhealthy. We have so much more control on the predisposition to certain things, which then questions or causes me to question, well, was I born with, any fear? Was I born, or any fears? Was I born with a self-image of what I deserve or don't deserve, or if I'm good enough or not good enough or smart enough? Was I born with any constructive or destructive beliefs about what's possible for me? And the answer is no. We weren't born with any beliefs or a self-image or self-worth or any fears, which then means, well, where did I get mine? And why is it that some of my beliefs are empowering me and other beliefs disempower me? And then what can I do about it if I want to release some of the things that just may be holding me back from living the fullest, most beautiful expression of my life? That's where I love to have fun and play, and I know you do too.
Well, there you go. He's using 4-letter words again. Fun, F-U, capital N, and play.
Hey.
And, mind. So let's unpack a few of the things you said. By the way, anything you want to know about John Assaraf and the programs that he has, and there's tremendous amount. This is really deep, rich, wonderful, beautiful, positive, purposeful, powerful, pleasant information. Just go to my website, barryshore.com. Everything about John is going to be there. You don't have to write anything down. You don't have to remember, because you can listen to this again. Everything is there about John is at barryshore.com. Just lean in, let it flow around you, through you, because this is transformational. You're going to want to, first of all, listen again. And all we do is I ask you, just share this with 5 people. Not 50 or 100. Yeah, you want to do that's great, but 5 people. And therefore, we'll have over 1.5 million people be touched by what John does. Because again, it doesn't matter at all where you were born, what you were raised with in terms of your thinking. It's all up to you. And please tell me if I'm wrong, John. It's up to you to create the kind of world you want to live in. Mentally, physically, spiritually. Okay, you may be in a difficult physical environment. Let's be blunt. People living under tremendous situations of poverty and such, but you don't have to be there. You don't have to be there. When you say the word genes, by the way, I'm always fascinated by it, because most people in the world, they hear the word genes, right away they think of Levi's and things like that. But right, so we need to change the way we spell it, and spell it as Genes, genes. And I put an I in there, because really what it is that we are all genies.
Yeah.
That's what you are. When you recognize, I think this is what you're talking about, John. When you recognize that you're really a genie, which we spell in English, Genie. When you recognize you're a genie, you have those 3 wishes. They're yours. And many more besides. Is that right, John?
It is. And what's interesting is for those who can't see us right now, right behind me, those of you who could see, there's a picture of Albert Einstein on my shelf. And that's a reminder to me that within every one of us is a genie or genius. And when you think about the history of the species and the coding of intelligence for survival, safety, innovation, wisdom, imagination, it's within every human being. Now, above my left shoulder on there is Frankenstein's monster. Not Frankenstein, but Frankenstein's monster. And within each one of us, there's also this other side of us that is always saying, but what if you fail? What if you get hurt? What if you're embarrassed, ashamed, ridiculed, judged? What if negative? So we have these character traits within us that we have to learn to love all of them and to utilize them as needed, as part of the genius within us. And unfortunately, Barry, this is not taught in schools. We don't teach children it's okay to have a critical negative voice in your head. It's okay to have negative thoughts or disempowering thoughts or even destructive thoughts or crazy, silly thoughts. We have about 6,200 thoughts a day. And what if we just thought of thoughts as little effervescent bubbles that are percolating up from, somewhere in our mind? And what if we said that the negative ones, I'll just call them negative, but if the negative ones were, let's say, red in color and the positive ones were blue in color, is it possible that with a little bit of practice, we could just be aware of thoughts and we could say the negative ones, I'm just going to let them float on by. And the positive ones, I'm going to grab onto those and I'm going to make those even more profound. And if I practice that, I would release those negative thoughts more often and I would focus on the positive thoughts. And if I focus on the positive thoughts, that would actually cause me to feel better. And if I felt better, maybe I would take action a little bit more than the negative thoughts that may be causing me to move away from doing the things that I want to do, having the things I want to have, being the person I want to be. And so everybody has thoughts, but not everybody has learned to disassociate who they are from the thoughts they have.
Ooh, let's repeat that, John. That is a great line. We need to put the music at one point, but let's repeat it again.
Yeah. Learn to disassociate the thoughts you have from who you are. Right? So when we look at who are you, if we go deep into, a little bit of my beliefs anyway, is we are this, this coalesced cells of intelligence that have been percolating in the universe for billions of years and, somehow, formulate into this sentient being called a human. That's the spiritual side of who we are. So we are spiritual. We have emotions. We have mental faculties, and we have this physical body. And this physical body and these organs do certain things. And one of the things that this brain organ of ours or organism is it has thoughts. It has these thoughts, good thoughts, bad thoughts, disgusting thoughts, beautiful thoughts, every type of thought imaginable. And we can learn to observe thoughts, but not emotionalize every thought.
So this is, let me put you on pause and unpack some things. Again, we're dealing with people all over the world.
Yeah.
Thank God we have tens of thousands of people listening from, in quotation marks, communist China, but China and throughout the Asian continent, Indonesia, we have a lot of listeners, so Africa, Europe, South America, the United States. What John is discussing, and I want to make sure that everybody understands this has nothing to do with nationality, has nothing to do with geography, has everything to do with you, Y-O-U, the essence of the being, and that you choose. Remember, we talked about choice, not chance, determines your destiny. You can choose which thoughts to focus on and bring to bear benefits to you. In other words, like John said, these thoughts are positive, they make me feel better. Well, gee, wouldn't you want more of that? Yeah, well then work it. But it's ability to learn. Since it's not taught in school, John is dedicating his life to making sure that people can have access and learn about these things. I was just recently, you talked about, we're Stardust. Well, STAR is a great acronym that stands for Sunshine, Transformed, and Reformatted. That's who we are. We're sunshine.
Yeah,
we
are. We are in really, not metaphorically speaking, vibrating packets of energy that we call is quanta. That's what quanta is. It is a vibrating packet of energy. And this vibrating package of energy, the people that are listening right now are hearing, my vocal cords making a sound. A sound wave is being transferred, from my throat and my mouth, through the microphone, across space and time, to somebody else's microphone, into their ear, creating vibrations in their ear, activating cells of recognition because they know what the word means. It's all energetic. It's all electrical energy, right? Electromagnetism. And the same thing with people who are watching us right now. We are this energetic being. We also know every thought that we have, if we pay attention to that thought, we activate or create a higher vibrational field of that thought, thereby releasing the neurochemical associated with that thought into our bloodstream, which then is what we call as a feeling. Feeling is conscious awareness of the vibration that this 100 trillion molecular structure is in. So when we talk about, whether it's self-talk, actually, let me backtrack for just a moment, Barry. If you're in communist China, or liberal Canada, wherever you are, when we were born, we all were born with about 85 billion to 100 billion brain cells, and those brain cells made connections based on our parents, what they told us, what they, had us believe, our culture, or maybe our religious beliefs, our brothers, our sisters, what we read, what we watched, what we learned in school. And we started to formulate these neural patterns. And these neural patterns were either constructive or destructive, empowering or disempowering. And here is the real thing that's worth discussing, is that there are some individuals that were born into a very positive, empowering, constructive environment. And then they reinforce those patterns, and maybe they tend to be more positive and have more positive thoughts. And there may be other individuals, either because of their grandparents or parents or the culture that they were brought up in or environment, where the geolocation they were in a more negative environment, and their brain developed these patterns that were more negative. Now, here is the interesting thing, is that our brain now expects what we have become wired and conditioned to expect. And it then creates dominant thought patterns and expectation patterns that not only is projecting, that possibility out there, it's creating that reality for us.
Mm-hmm.
So we are, in essence, the projector that is projecting onto this canvas called the world what we believe to be true, even though sometimes what we believe may not be the truth. So I'll give you an example. When some people were young, they believed in Santa Claus. And it was a form of joy for them and their families. And then at a certain point, they got new evidence that Santa Claus was not real, as though they thought it was when they were a child. Santa Claus was something make believe, for part of the culture or religion or where they lived. And so the question then becomes, are there things that I currently believe that may not be true?
Ooh, wait a minute. On that amazing high elevating note, we have sponsors that love us, and we urge everybody to frequent our sponsors. So we're going to have a couple of minute break, and we're going to come back to this intriguing question that John has posed for us. And we'll be right back after this brief message. Don't go away. There's more Assaraf on the other side of this. Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, you're good-looking. You're always looking for and finding the good. You want to find good on a regular basis every single day? Then you want to join the Joy of Living community, where you can be with like-minded beings who are always seeking the good, living joyfully no matter the circumstances. And you'll be with me. We're doing webinars together. We'll be furthering your ability to touch the essence of you. And when you're the best you make the world a better place. You build more harmony, build more bridges, you create more joy, happiness, peace, and love in the world. So join the Joy of Living community. Go to barryshore.com/community. That's BARRYSHORE.com/community. And not only for you, but tell your family and friends, because we're here to make a difference in the world. You will learn to go mad, make a difference, and be happy for it. So barryshore.com/community. You'll be thanking me. Best wishes. Make it a great one. Go forth. Live exuberantly. Spread the seeds of joy, happiness, peace, and love. Go mad. Go make a difference. Imagine the kind of place you would want to shop for your favorite fur baby pet. HonestPets.co. Well, you found it. HonestPets.co, not .com, .co. This is your go-to spot for the best, the cleanest pet treats that exist anywhere on the planet. All of the brands go through a rigorous review to make sure they meet the high standards of cleanliness, health benefits, and naturalness. This site was started by a husband and wife team, and it's veteran-owned, and that care about pets, especially dogs and cats, and coming soon, bird treats. These are very nice young people who really care about making a difference, because a portion of proceeds go to support veteran organizations with a focus on service dogs. This is the place where you want to go. You want to tell your friends this has the finest, yummiest, freshest, all-natural treats and stuff for your fur baby. So go there, honestpets.co. honestpets.co. Do it now. Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, good-looking, because you're always looking for and finding the good. Have we found good? Our cup runneth over with good. A two-legged being, a brainy two-legged being named John Assaraf, and he is intriguing us with the ability to discern between what we think is true and what is real, and how we distinguish, how we use that to our advantage, because everything he's talking about is to create the greatest life possible. I just want to share with John and everybody here, most of the people who know have been tuning in for a while, that we love acronyms, and the acronym for love is living on vibrating energy. Living on the vibrational plane. You like that, John? Because we discussed that last session. Okay, so we're dealing with love, and we're dealing with the way of the world. WAY stands for wonderful are you. So bring us into this wonderful are you process of saying, well, Santa Claus may not be true, but...
Well, Santa Claus may not be true. Santa Claus, offers millions, if not tens of millions or hundreds of millions of people a joyous time of year to celebrate. There's a lot of wonderful associations and a lot of family bonding and love. And for many families, it may also have an opposite meaning for other people based on their experience. But we got into the world of beliefs And beliefs is really the lens by which we see the world. Our brain deletes and distorts the world out there based on our beliefs. So if we believe, for example, that we are good enough and worthy enough and smart enough to achieve the success that we want in any area of our life, then we will see that mirror in the world that we think is happening out there, which it's not, it's happening in here. And if we believe that we're not worthy or not smart enough or too white or too black or not enough of this or too much of that, then that is the projection of what it is that we see out there. So the question is, what is a belief? And the answer is, it's nothing more than a neural pattern that's been reinforced, created and then reinforced, that we have evidence of it being real. We have evidence. And so the question then becomes, is there a way to let go of maybe negative or limiting or disempowering beliefs and replace them with constructive, empowering, positive beliefs? And the answer is, based on the new science of neuroplasticity, our brain's ability to make and reinforce a new connection, yes, the answer is yes. And this is where I know you're going to love this, because this is what I call is deliberate conscious evolution.
I love that. Deliberate conscious evolution, DCE. We'll have to think of something.
DCE, right? So deliberate conscious evolution is a decision that, no, I'm not going to wait, for 10,000 years of evolution to change me. I'm going to deliberately and consciously become master of my brain so that I can direct it instead of it running my life automatically.
Wait a minute. You're telling me and hundreds of thousands of people that we have the ability, the power to direct our thoughts, our words, and our deeds, and literally make the world we want? Is that what you're saying, John?
It is what I am preaching from the podium. Yes, it is. It's a fascinating revelation when you realize I don't have to be a victim of my thoughts or my disempowering emotions or my conditions or my environment. I can be victorious when I learn how to focus my attention and focus my intention into my actions.
This sounds like, instead of exercise, it sounds like inner size.
Well, as you see on the back there, that is my
that was, for those of you who are watching, say, hey, Barry Shore, you're pretty cool. He was reading the card.
Barry. Yeah, like Jack LaLanne back in the 60s and 70s.
I'm a Jack LaLanne fan.
The jumping jack. He popularized exercise, and doctor says, don't do it. You're going to hurt yourself. You shorten your lifespan. Exercise is not good for you. He says, no, you're going to strengthen your muscles. You're going to strengthen your cardiovascular system and your nervous system, and everything gets stronger. And I realized for myself, Barry, 41 years ago, I started to train my brain, to hack my own brain, whether it was reading affirmations or writing them down. I remember when I was sick, I was 23 years young, and I ended up with severe ulcerative colitis. And I had ulcers in my colon, and I was taking 25 silazapyrin pills a day, which is a way to reduce inflammation. I was doing a cortisone enema in the morning, cortisone at night, and a sigmoidoscopy once a month to see how bad this thing was getting. And I got to the point where they said that if it doesn't get better, they're going to have to remove part of my colon. And I was like, what? I'm 22 years old, 23 years old. What do you mean you're going to remove part of my colon? And I asked, my doctor, the name was Dr. Wu at the time. I said, like, what's causing this? And he says, we're not certain. It could be a genetic predisposition, but we're not certain. So I started doing a bunch of research. And yes, genetic predisposition was one possibility. Autoimmune disorder triggered by stress. It could be food allergy, sensitivity. It could be a bunch of different things. And right at the time, as I was doing some research, and by the way, this went on for about a year and a half, right? And I didn't have any bowel control at all. So if I had to go shit, I would shit right there. And that is SHIT. I don't know what your acronym for that is.
I have a great acronym for it, but we'll talk about that.
But it was just shit wherever it had to shit. Now, in the car, in a restaurant, in an elevator, didn't matter. And so I had a lot of motive to discover how to stop it. And one day I was watching a TV show, and there were some doctors that came on. They were talking about something called psychoneuroimmunology. I'm like, what in the world is that? And all it is there's a connection between the body and mind. And so they said, listen, if you keep thinking about the disease that you have, you're going to keep recreating the energetic field and the patterns of the disease. If you keep focusing on how bad it is, you keep recreating how bad it is. If you keep wondering, why do I have this? Your brain's going to give you the answer why you have this. And so they said, well, why don't you, and they didn't say, but they were talking about this connection. And so I started looking more into it. And the more I looked into it, the more I realized that I was focusing on the disease, the dis-ease over and over and over and over again. And it was getting worse and worse and worse and worse.
Because you were empowering it.
I was empowering it. And so then I found something, and this literally is like 38 years ago, I found this affirmation, and this affirmation is where I started to heal myself. And it says, my body and all its organs were created by the infinite intelligence in my subconscious mind. It knows how to heal me. Its wisdom created all my muscles, tissues, bones, and organs, and this infinite intelligence within me is now making me whole and perfect now. I give thanks for the healing that is taking presence within me. Wonderful are the works of the creative intelligence within me. I am now perfectly healthy. I recited that every day, 50 times a day. I recorded it. I saw my colon in my mind's eye, even though I didn't visualize very well, getting better and better and better and better. Yes, I started to exercise to reduce stress, just in case. Yes, I started to eat better. 5 weeks later, all symptoms went away. All symptoms
Yay,
went away.
John!
Now, why do I share that? Well, that was the beginning of me saying, hey, there's a lot more power to my brain than I knew, but there's a lot more control that I could have by deliberately focusing on what I wanted versus what was happening or what I didn't want. That is what I call the razor's edge. That's the power that we have in our ability to focus. And so I always ask, like, what are you focusing on most of the time? What you want and what you hope to have, or what is or what was that you don't want? And so that little shift put me on a path of really studying the power within every.
I need to put you on pause because you've touched a number of things. First of all, we got to unpack. There's so much wonderful stuff here. And I'm going to make John laugh out loud because I speak about the ability to shift perspective on a regular basis. And I got to tell you something, John, 99.2% of all the people I speak with hundreds of thousands of people throughout the decades. For some reason, they drop the F in shift and they end up with the other stuff. You got to be effing careful about your F's. It's perspective can shift, not the other stuff that John was doing, because you got to be really cool about that. The other thing,
and we know, Barry, that shift happens.
Yeah, shift does happen. If you allow it to, shift will happen. And part of that is what John is talking about now. And again, for people who've been listening, and that's why, thank God, hundreds of thousands of people come every week and they bring their family and friends, because we talk about the most important speech you'll ever hear. And John just articulated it so well. Self-talk. Am I correct? Self-talk. Now,
Yeah.
self-talk, John, is one of the most interesting acronyms you'll ever utilize, internalize, and leverage in your life. I'll give you the short version. Self-talk stands for recognizing you are a soul experiencing life fully, teaching always love and kindness. And you do that for yourself, and you will heal yourself of whatever ails you. By the way, did you get introduced to Norman Cousins' book at all during this process? Okay.
Yeah, I started to read and study as many of the masters as I could. I was looking for any bit of information that could help me. And that's really where I started to understand, what disease is dis-ease. But that's where I really started to understand, a little bit about, that we are all made up of energy. What I think about activates a certain energetic frequency, let's say just within me. Forget about what impact it might have on anybody else, but we've all walked into a room and we know something is wrong and we say, what's wrong? And people say nothing. And they go, come on, we know something. The dog knows something is wrong. How do we know? That's because we have this intuition that picks up on energy. But if we can understand that my thoughts do matter, what I say to myself matters, what I say to you matters, because it affects matter. So first there is self-talk. The next layer of this is emotional regulation. So
don't think of ER as the emergency room. We're going to we're going to elevate your thoughts, and we're going to tell you what ER now stands for from now forward, like www. From now forward, never say www. You think, what a wonderful world. Now, ER really means what?
Emotional regulation.
Woo!
Right. So there's a big difference between emotions and feelings, which, again, most people, we've never been taught most of this stuff. And emotions are activated in our subconscious mind based on our memory bank and the meanings and associations we have. And they activate the electrons or the electrical circuits and neurochemical releases in our body. And the chemicals that are in our body is what causes feelings and sensations. And so if you think about who are the best, the Olympic athletes of emotional regulation, they're Hollywood actors. They can turn on a dime from one emotional state to another, from this to that, from masterfully getting us to believe that they are the character, which then causes me to think, well, if they can regulate their emotions so well, they're the Olympic athletes of it. Do I have to be a victim of depression? Do I have to be a victim of negativity? No, of course not. So that means that I can practice different emotional states and switch on demand. Yeah, you can.
This is so wonderful. Yes, you can. Again, remember, this show is all about you becoming the best you. Let's talk about an interesting idea that I've been interested in and I'm committed to, and that is the idea or the distinction between being interested in something and being committed to something.
I was 19 years young. I was getting myself into a lot of trouble from 13 to 18, 19 with the law. Selling drugs, doing drugs, drinking, breaking in entries, getting into a lot of trouble with the law.
By the way, I want to put you on pause for a moment, because those of you who are looking right now, what you're seeing is this handsome, emotionally powerful being. I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about John. And with a great ready smile and such. And you say, oh, he's always had a great, charming life. So what we're doing now is talking about, the reality of stuff. He's been through stuff. I want to make sure everybody understands that. He needed to emerge from the morass of negativity into the ER, through the emergency room in some cases, into emotional regulation. So yes, you were in trouble with the law because you were not respecting yourself.
I wasn't respecting myself. I didn't think I was smart enough. I failed English and math in grade 7, left high school at grade 11. All the evidence that I had, my results, were that I wasn't smart enough and good enough to achieve success in school. And back then, I was told that if you didn't do well in school, you wouldn't do well in life. You wouldn't be able to really make anything of yourself. And at the time, I was working at a factory making $1.65 an hour, packing boxes and unpacking boxes in the shipping department. And my brother, who was concerned for my safety, one of the guys that was in my little street gang had died. One went to jail. So I knew that the path I was on was jail or the morgue. And my brother was concerned for my well-being. And so was my sister. My parents were mortified. My brother introduced me to a gentleman that lived 350 miles away. I took the train to go and have lunch with my brother and this man. And at lunch, this guy, Alan Brown was his name, asked me, like, what were some of my goals? And I said, well, I'd like to get a better job. I'd like to buy a car. I'd like to move out of my parents' house. He said, well, that's all great. But what are some of your bigger goals and dreams? And I'm like, I never even thought about it. And Barry gave me a sheet of paper, actually several sheets of paper. And I'll just date myself, right? It was March of 1980. Of 1980. I was 19.
By the way, most of the people listening weren't born then. Our 85% of our audience is under the age of 37. So
that's why I'm saying that, right? So I'm 61 now. I was 19 then. And he gave me this document. And the first question, he said, please answer these questions. And then we'll talk a little bit about how you might be able to achieve this. I said, sure. So I opened up the document. And the first question, I'm 19, right, is at what age do you want to retire? What? Retire? Who retires? Like, what does retire mean? And so I said to him, I said, Mr. Brown, what am I supposed to put here? I'm 19. I'd like to get a really good job. He said, well, go out into the future as far as you can. Just put a number down. So I put 45. Second question was, how much net worth do you want to have upon retirement? As I looked at Mr. Brown again, I said, excuse me, sir, what does net worth mean? So he told me what that net worth means. And I said, okay, $3 million. What kind of car would you like? What kind of home would you like? Where would you like to travel? What kind of clothes would you like? Who would you like to help? So I said, Italian clothes, 4-bedroom house, Mercedes-Benz, retire my parents, travel around the world, first class. I just wrote down stuff, Barry. I might as well have been writing stuff that was going to happen on Mars. It would have been that probably more believable. And then he took the piece of paper after I finished. And he looked at it, he says, like, this is a really good life. You want to be healthy and you want to be charitable and you want to take care of your parents and you want to live a nice life, and et cetera. I said, yeah, I do. He said, I'm going to ask you one question. And the answer to this question will determine whether you have every one of these things and whether you achieve these things and feel these things. And I'm thinking in the back of my mind, yeah, one question. Sure, sir. Sure. So he leaned in. And he said, are you interested in achieving all of these things, or are you committed to achieving them? And I don't know. I think feeling a little dumb going, am I interested? Am I committed? And I said to him sheepishly, I said, Mr. Brown, what's the difference, sir? And he said to me, he said, son, he said, if you're interested, you'll do what's easy and convenient. If you're interested, you'll come up with stories and reasons and excuses why you can't. If you're interested, you'll allow your present thinking and your present circumstance to control your behavior, thereby you'll keep repeating the same things over and over again. He said, but if you are committed to achieving these things, you will upgrade your identity to match this destiny.
Oh, wait a minute. On this word, can you believe that our time has... So I have 3 questions for you, John Assaraf. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Number 1, will you come back again?
Absolutely.
Woo! Number 2, you have 80 seconds only to answer this question, John. What is your most fervent desire? 80 seconds.
I'll give it to you in 5 seconds. To use my life in a way that I feel proud of, that helps as many people as possible while I'm alive.
He wants to help as many people as possible while he's alive. So you're going to learn next time he's back about being really committed. And number 3, are you ready for a hug in front of 362,827 people around the world?
Under one condition, yes.
I'm waiting.
If they each also give a hug to 3 people today.
Well, I'll speak and vouch for them all. Let me tell you what HUG stands for. HUG stands for heartfelt, unlimited giving. Heartfelt, unlimited giving. Everybody around the world, 1, 2, 3. Woo! Thank you, John. Remember, you're listening, you tuned in consciously and conscientiously to The Joy of Living. The humble host, Barry Shore, an amazing guest, John Assaraf, who has given you transformative insights into becoming the best you possible. Because you're the best you make the world a better place. You become happier, healthier, wealthier when you use the 3 fundamentals of life. Number 1, your life has purpose. Number 2, lead a purpose-driven life. You go mad means you make a difference. Number 3, unlock the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms, such as smile, seeing miracles in life every day, as my 8-year-old niece says, seeing miracles in everyday life. Create the kind of world you want to live in, causing rethinking, as John says, enabling all to excel. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. Use 4-letter words regularly. Love, life, hope, free, grow, gift, mind, you, Y-O-U-U. Fun, F-U, capital N, capital N. Remember to use the 2 most powerful words in the English language 3 times a day, consciously and conscientiously, for now and the rest of your life. Thank you, thank you, thank you, to harmonize and network kindness. John, thank you so much. Don't go away. I'll be right back with you. We're going to say a quick goodbye to everybody, and then I'll be right back with you. Don't go away.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Joy of Living podcast. Now that's another step towards your healthier, happier, and wealthier life. Never hesitate to do good in the world, no matter what the situation. Join us for another upbeat discussion next time at barryshore.com. And be sure to leave a rating and subscribe to the show to get more conversations like this. And remember to share it with your family and friends too. See you on the next episode.